Dan Dial. This is my wife, Arla. Arla K is the name of the boat. So, it's a steamboat, of course. A boiler and steam engine. The engine is actually a new engine, but it was built off a set of plans from 1890. It's a compound condensing engine. Compound because it has two cylinders, high pressure and low pressure cylinders. Condensing because when you build a fire in the boiler, a little fire door down there, there's water above that. The fire heats the water, boils it into steam. Steam comes through the pipe pipes into the engine, goes through the engine, through the high pressure and low pressure, cross over to low pressure, and then exhausts out of the engine, goes underneath the boat. 3/4 copper pipe under the boat, called a condenser. When that hot steam hits that 3/4 pipe, it's cold under there in the water, it condenses back to steam, or to water. This right there is a vacuum pump. That vacuum pump runs off the engine. When the engine's running, it takes that water out of that pipe and puts it in a hot well or a tank underneath that lid up there. And then on the other side of that, opposite from that vacuum pump, is a feed water pump. That takes the water out of that tank up there that the vacuum pump's pumping into and pumps it back into the boiler. So it just circulates the water. If you never blew your whistle or never had a leak or lost the steam, you'd never have to replace any water. The big ships during the Second World War, almost all the ships had steam engines like this. The USS Texas, the old ship, big ship, built in 1913, 1914, actually has the same exact engine, just much larger.
So basically it would just come down to how much coal you have if you didn't blow the whistle. And
yes. Yeah, and the higher pressure, the more RPM your engine will run.
So you don't use coal, you use wood.
Yeah, you can use coal. I've used a little coal, but mostly wood all the time.
Yeah.
There's some of the boats, we have a club. Some of the boats are propane run, some of them oil. But we like to stay with the old original. We burn hardwood, hickory or oak.
That scared the crap out of me.
What would do that is if it popped off right above the head.
Yeah, that would.
But it's not going to do that. It's only on 50.
So that's pumping pressure from the steam.
From the steam. Steam's coming out of the boiler into a high pressure cylinder. Running that burnt cylinder. Every time that piston pushes down, steam comes in on top of the valve, top of the cylinder, pushes the piston down. As soon as it gets to the bottom, the valve changes the steam flow, turns it to the bottom, and pushes that piston back up. It's called double acting, so it's power stroke both ways. When the steam comes out of that first cylinder, the low pressure cylinder does the same thing. Then it exhausts out. This is a heat exchanger which keeps that steam hot. Then it goes underneath the boat to that green pipe. Goes there. Underneath the boat is a 3/8 copper, 3/4 copper. And that copper, as soon as that copper or that steam hits that cool copper, it condenses back to water. That's a vacuum pump over there. It vacuums that water that's in that pipe out of that pipe and puts it in a tank that's underneath that lid there. I can move the lid and show you that, you know?
Yeah. Oh wow, okay.
Boy, that's
That
really
vacuums that water. You can see it. That's coming from underneath the boat after the steam's turned back to water. This is called a hot well. Water needs to be about 160 degrees in there. And if it's a little cool, go ahead and pour that in on oil. That's good. The best thing to kill your boiler and kill the efficiency of your boiler is to put cold water in it, of course, because you're trying to make steam. So I need to keep that hot. I've got a valve here I can open up.
That's gonna pump into there.
This copper pipe goes down there and coils around down the bottom of that pig. This puts steam through there.
So you're heating the water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably 80 degrees or something like that. But this will heat it up to steam's 300 degrees, 212. So that'll heat that water up, which just makes it more running more efficient.